Okay, Joe Diomede here, TTRP TV, talking to Jamey and Billy. And if anyone doesn't know where Marshall is, it's in a place called North Carolina in a country called America. And I haven't been here for 3 years for various reasons. Travel was difficult and there's a little window, so I came after 3 years and walking the streets. I walked into this shop, which is a bookshop that Jamey's opened up in 2016. Was that, Jamey?
2016, yeah.
2016, but he lives in Asheville, which is a city about 25 minutes from here by car, something like that.
Pretty much.
Right down the French Broad River. And he's opened the shop in 2016. And on my other side, I got Billy, who's Jamey's mate. And Billy's a cotton farmer, and his family has been in South Carolina, the same county, farming cotton since 1750. So we're going to have a little interesting conversation on life in the South. In the place called America. So start with Jamey. So Jamey, what inspired you to come to Marshall and open a bookshop?
Well, I was kind of in between things at that point. I was a teacher for 20 years, and I decided in 2003 I didn't want to teach anymore, so I went into construction. And so I was working construction, and then I went back teaching with the Navy in a program with the Navy in 2010, and so I would go on deployment and teach, and then come home and work construction, and then go on deployment, and then teach and come home and work construction. And in late 2015, this shop became available, and I was looking for something else to do, and here I am. Right,
and so and you said off camera that you were from Greensboro. So was all that construction to and fro in Greensboro, or were you in Asheville by then?
In Asheville.
Okay.
In Asheville, yes.
Right, and so you spent a lot of time in the Navy. Were you in the Navy?
No, I was actually a civilian contractor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I taught college history to deployed sailors on ships that were underway. Gave sailors an opportunity to earn some college credit while they were at sea.
Right. Okay. So the bookstore was your natural transition. I guess you like books. You being an academic in some ways. Yeah.
Yeah. I would say. I mean, I probably always had in the back of my mind the idea of having a used bookstore.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I would say I credit that to some degree to a fellow named Ben down in Greensboro, who had a used bookstore right on the edge of campus where I went to school in Greensboro. And I kind of looked at his life and thought, that looks pretty good.
Right.
Running a used bookstore. So.
Yeah. In this day and age of, everything's got to be, big and growing and or stamped or franchised. It's nice to see a nice independent shop. Well, Marshall's full of independent shops,
Absolutely.
And that's what I love about Marshall.
I was going to say, I think all of them are. Yeah.
I think every shop in this place is independent. Yeah, it's great. And Billy.
Yes, sir.
How are you back there?
I'm fine.
Yeah, that's good. We put Billy in the downstream because he's a very tall guy, and his family, like I said, has been farming cotton since 1750.
That's not right.
Oh, I'm lying. I'm lying, everybody. Correct me, Billy.
Can you believe that?
Can you believe that? Look at that. Oh, man. Tell me, Billy, straighten me out.
I said that my family started farming here in South Carolina, okay, which is the next state,
South.
Across, yeah. They came here in 1750 to farm, and they had 2 land grants from the king. Okay.
Okay.
They didn't
King of England, that is.
We didn't have a king then. They didn't necessarily farm cotton, because cotton came home later.
Oh, okay.
They were mostly farming foodstuffs.
Right.
And
Okay.
and my sixth great grandfather back grew food for the Revolutionary War.
Right.
And his son fought in the Revolutionary War.
In the Revolutionary War.
Yes.
Wow. Well, I guess your family, both wars, no? Civil as well. And it wasn't farming for us Northerners in that war.
I don't consider you a Northerner. I consider you a Frenchman who's come back home.
There you go. He finds it hard to say Northerner, But that's good. And so, when did they transition to cotton? In the 1800s then? So went from food to cotton for
No,
clothing?
I think in my area,
Mm-hmm.
Cotton came on in the 1900s.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And the early 1900s.
The early 1900s. Right. Okay. Right. So it was food stuff until then, and are you on literally the same farm, the same place? I know the same county, but is it have you
Same
moved?
county, but not the same farm.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Okay. And you said, unfortunately, this is kind of you're the last
Yes,
of the last
yes.
of the line.
I have 3 children.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And they all 3, neither one of them are going to come back to farm.
Right.
I'm not saying they won't come back in older years
Mm-hmm.
to live.
Right.
Okay, but they're not going to farm.
They're not going to farm.
Nope.
Maybe.
Well, there's always an outside chance.
Depends on where the world goes in the next couple of years. Yeah.
You know, if you're a poker player, there's always an outside chance.
That's it. There's always that chance.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people, you know, in the areas we live in France, you know, we used to live in rural Brittany, and that place was dying because the kids were like, no, I'm going to Paris. I don't want to have the farm life. But they realized the city life wasn't giving them so much. You know, Brittany's repopulating and getting real popular right now.
Well, I realize the need of young people to have some type of entertainment.
Yeah,
You know,
of course.
You know, for their spouse
Sure.
or whatever and that kind of stuff. And my little town doesn't offer much of that.
Right,
Okay?
right.
So they go to places that do offer it. But then you got to look. You got to stop and think about how much the large cities in this country have become violent. And
Yeah.
not necessarily a place that they want to live there either.
Right, right. Yeah, it's a process, isn't it? They might go and realize after 5 years, I'm going to come back. Like, you know, Asheville, okay, in terms of American cities, is not like a large city,
Yeah.
but it's a growing city for sure. A city that in
Absolutely.
many ways people might even say has become gentrified.
Yep.
So it's pricing people out. I don't know. I'm not sure if violence is a problem, but I think more people get priced out.
Priced
You know,
out.
young people who
Yeah.
want to live a different life, who might have moved there 20 years ago,
Right.
can't afford it.
I
Right.
saw a thing on one of the documentaries on television the other day about how much rent is in San Francisco and Los Angeles.
Oh.
And people can't afford it.
No, 5,000 a month.
A minimum.
Yeah,
Mhm.
New York City,
Yeah.
same thing.
Yeah.
But you know,
Yeah.
5,000. I mean, Asheville's probably expensive, but I'm sure 2,000 a month.
Yeah, you can probably find something less than that, but not by much less.
Yeah.
So yeah,
That
I mean,
place
rents in
has been
Asheville
renovated.
are high and going up.
You know, and that's a lot of money for some young person out of college who might even have college debt behind them now,
Yeah.
and everything else. And how two grand a month.
Sure, and is working in the service industry. So,
Yeah.
which is a lot of young people are working in the service industry.
And that's long hours and minimum pay.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. It's a tough one. It's a tough one for a lot of people, and that, even in our France, we're our closest city is Toulouse, and of course the numbers don't match those American numbers with rent, but like we spoke before, our equivalent of gas, is a price between $10 and $12 a gallon. So there's other things that make life expensive, and so the
Right.
countryside does become more appealing.
Right.
But as that becomes more appealing, those prices go up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's happening in this county. I mean,
Madison County.
Madison County. People
Mhm.
are discovering Madison County and moving to the county from all over the U.S.
Right.
And
My nephew was saying lots of Californians are coming out here.
California, Oregon, Washington, Michigan. I mean, just all over the country.
Right.
It's- Madison County is beginning.
Like,
to
why
get-
is Madison
get the
so
radar.
appealing? Because cheap land, or it used to be.
But
cheap
again,
land?
yeah, it's less it's less cheap now than it was 2
Mhm.
years ago,
Mhm.
Because and depending on where you are in the county, if you're in this part of the county, you have close access to Asheville. So if you want the city, you might say,
Right.
then you have
Right.
close access to
Yeah.
Asheville.
And you can be in
But
a
you
small
can be-
town.
Correct. But you can also go into other parts of the county, which are quite a long way away from Asheville. So you can get remote. You can get very remote here in this county.
Oh yeah, I've been in the car. Yeah, even some of my nieces and nephews' friends, they live, say 25 minutes away, but it's 25 minutes away up,
Right.
you know, back and beyond, and it's a farm, and you know, luckily they do have running water. But you would think like, how are they getting water up there?
Right.
You know, it's
Yeah.
and some of the places are very primitive. Not primitive, but you know, it's you know when you really get back there, which is good. I mean, it gives you more autonomy.
Sure. And that's what some people are looking for.
Yeah,
And,
exactly, exactly.
Yeah, there's a whole, I think, kind of a whole move back to the land phenomenon that's going on and is affecting this county. It reminds me kind of the early '60s when people were looking to you know move back to the land.
Yep. Yeah, Billy. Go ahead.
Okay, and on what he just said, okay?
Yeah. Moving back to the land.
If you haven't noticed, right over here is a store that says off the grid.
Okay.
See?
Yeah.
See it?
Off the grid.
See it?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
That means living without electricity.
Right.
And what they sell there is things that are not electric. So you can live without electricity.
Okay,
on
so
the
it's
grid.
not. So they're not selling solar panels. I mean, they're selling more hand crank stuff.
I haven't
Well,
been in there, but I think they're selling things like, you know, gas heaters, and
Right.
wood stoves. And,
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
Jamie can tell you more than I can.
What is it? What is it selling
Well,
off the grid?
I mean, they do sell solar panels, but the whole idea is to, I mean, simply put, in modern parlance, it's kind of reduce your carbon footprint.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's about not only your house necessarily, but for people that want to be traveling around, then they can outfit, because there's another component to that shop, and they retrofit buses and RVs and stuff like that for
living spaces.
For living spaces,
Right.
and making them.
So they had nothing to do. I mean, last time I was here, well, your shop was here at the time as well. There was a guy, I don't know where, but he used to put a tiny house. And he used to put it in like one of the parking lots around here, and then they used to sell it, and then used to build another one. The tiny house movement anyway is getting big, isn't it?
Right, and there is a business as you go out of town that is building nano homesteads, small houses
That
if
could
you
be
will.
mobile.
That could
They build them off site, and then you can move them on
be
site.
livable on site, correct? Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right,
So,
okay.
So and that's that's a growing industry probably across the country.
Yeah, across the world. I mean, where I live as
Yeah,
well.
for
I mean,
sure.
people are doing that. You know, people are being priced out. You know, in Western culture.
Right.
You know, I'm not talking about maybe Asia or developing countries, but you know, definitely in the Western world, Australia, New Zealand, Europe, and people are being priced out of big cities, and the prices, and the rents, and then the last 2 years have really brought people. They have awoken to the fact like, ooh, do I really want to live in a big city?
Sure.
And so they're coming to the small villages or
Right.
wanting to grow food, because they're thinking, that food supply chain died pretty quickly. I should have a backup.
Right.
Yeah.
That plus also, I think there are a lot of people that are coming to the conclusion that there's a lot of stuff that they simply don't need.
Yeah.
And if you can offload and and downsize is the kind of word, then you can live on a much smaller footprint.
Yeah.
If you're if you're willing to not acquire a whole lot of
For sure.
stuff.
Yeah. That's definitely the new talk. Everyone is just downsizing, and in France's term is décroissance. It's like downsize. And speaking of that, so obviously a used bookshop. You're not tied into all of the new publishers, and you have to keep up certain counts and buy a certain amount every month, every week. You're not competing with Amazon and all those other places. How are you doing?
Actually, business has been pretty good. When I made the turn, partly due to COVID, when it was closed, I decided that when I was going to open back up, I was definitely going to be what I wanted to be, which was a used bookstore. Amazon, of course, is the elephant in the room.
Sure.
Even for my business.
Well, every business on the street,
correct,
except the food.
Right. But business has been great, and I've been fortunate to bring on a young woman who is helping me and has gotten us an online presence. So we're beginning to sell books through eBay,
Right.
Which is helping to supplement the bricks and mortar sales.
Yeah.
But
That unfortunately, that's the way we got to go. I was
Sure.
talking to Rod. You know Rod next door in the bike shop.
yeah.
Yeah. So obviously I've been in the bike business, the bike world. I know Rod lots of years, and my son used to ride and race with him when we used to visit, and he's kind of over it as well, because the bike business, again with the C word there, the bike business has become this multi-billion-dollar. I mean, it always was, obviously, in a worldwide marketplace, but it's just grown exponentially during the last 2 years.
Right.
And unfortunately, a lot of the big companies, the little shops who supported them all those years, they go, okay, we're going to open a concept store, which is like their own brand only in Nashville. I know of 2 companies who've done that, and steps on their small dealers who've built them. And so you got to compete if you want to stay alive.
Right.
Unfortunately, on that online. I guess. How about you? You don't sell your cotton online, do you?
No.
Nope. You got your customers. You got your, like, how does it work being a cotton farmer? Do you just put them on the market, or do you have certain customers who come and buy your cotton? And
Most of the time, you have a contract with some cotton broker, okay, before you put the seed in the ground.
Okay, right.
Okay, and the problem right now is the fact that input costs have gone up so much, it's hard to figure out what's going to be a profit.
I mean, and what happens if you have the drought? I mean, are these?
Whatever.
Yeah. So
Farmers, somebody asked me one time, says, Billy, you ever do any gambling? I said, nope. I said, I've been farming for 50 years. All the gambling lust in my body's gone.
yeah, unfortunately, and that's why you said
That's right.
your sons and your daughters, whatever, your cousin, whoever, the wider family, saying, farming, why? And especially because farming has become even high tech. I know a lot of farmers, even in our area, big tractors put on the GPS and they drive up and down the tractor fields. So they're not even farmers anymore; they're just tractor drivers, and they pay a minimum wage. And the local farmer is kind of a disappearing. Well, you're a farmer. Is it disappearing?
To some degree, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I can't give you some exact figure, but in my home county, 50 years ago, I read this in the local paper, 50 years ago, there were 686 farmers in this county.
Okay.
Today, I don't know how many they are, but if I had to make a guess, I'd be less than 200.
That's a big drop. It's a third.
Yeah.
Third left.
And-
2/3 drop. Yeah.
And another problem is we have people from other places, other states, that come in here and take over a farm that was farmed by a family.
Yeah.
60, 70 years.
Sure.
Because there's nobody else taking it over.
Yeah. And it changes the face of South Carolina, of your county in South Carolina. And what county is that?
Marlboro,
And so how far is that from where we sit?
5 hours.
Okay, 5 hours down the road. But how's life? Is there a community feeling where you are? You got your friends that you've known for 50 years and being a farmer. And
Yeah, I've got some friends.
you got the local bar. Like so Marshall, I know you got places to eat. You got Zuma. Well, not Zuma. Yeah, you do have Zuma still, and the CBD cafe. Like, so in your town, you said there's not much, and your kids want to leave for more excitement. But what's in your village or town?
We don't have any movie theaters.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We do have, I don't know, 4 or 5 restaurants.
Okay.
Plus fast food.
Right.
Okay.
Like big name fast food or like independently owned fast food?
No, we're talking about like Hardee's.
Right.
McDonald's.
Okay. Yeah, like the big chains.
And the other 4 or 5 are independently owned.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
And I realize that my vision is skewed to a certain degree for the simple reason I was born and raised there.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
That's who you know.
And that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
And I really can't find a whole lot wrong with it, to be honest with you. But for some reason, the younger people want more than that. And
Yeah.
I can't blame them.
Well, yeah, they're born in a whole, even me, you, we're all of a similar era where we didn't have screens all the time. We didn't have, you said the movie theaters are closed. I don't think that affects anybody in your village. They have Hulu, Amazon, Apple TV. They got 6 movie theaters right in their house.
Right.
And so people want more. It's almost they're born into this world where more is the bottom line.
Well, the thing I have a hard time adjusting to, and there's several things. When's the last time you saw a bunch of kids playing baseball on a vacant lot?
Yeah. No. Well, definitely not in France.
Well, you know, baseball wasn't a thing.
Yeah, but well, football, soccer, but yeah. I mean,
whatever. Okay?
yeah.
What you see now is,
Yeah, a bit of that. Yeah.
okay,
It's going to change, Billy. It's going to change.
back or change to another situation.
I think that, well, another situation. I don't know if it's going to go back to kids playing baseball on the street, but it might. Because I think people are just going to get bored of the screen. It might take 10, 15 years, but I think it's going to be boredom is going to set in.
I worry about the fact that children don't interact with other people, including their parents,
Yeah.
friends, and so on and so forth,
Yeah.
like they used to.
Yeah.
How many times you been to a restaurant on Sunday or any other day?
Yeah, and
You
the
see a
phones
family-
are on the table.
You see a family of four sit down, and all four, mama, daddy, and two children.
Yeah. No.
Having a conversation.
Yeah, yes, I know. It is a problem. I'm luckily where we live, and in France, it's there, not so ever present. And how about here, Jamie? That you live here. Do you see? So you've been here since 2016. See, 2016 for us is a big turning point with the smartphone. It really kind of got to France later than it did in America. So it's been here for quite a while. Have you seen it change the face of Marshall in any way? Like with people walking down the street, walking into your shop with a phone, their heads bent over, and not saying, "Hey, Jamie, how you doing?" Just walking by your shop, looking at the screen.
I mean, that happens some, but I think it happens certainly less in Marshall than it does in Asheville.
Right.
Right. This is much more of a person-oriented town.
Mm-hmm.
Having said that, Mr. Billy and I were sitting out here yesterday, and a fellow walked by, and his head was in his screen, and didn't say hello to anybody, but to us sitting out here. So I think it's less of a case in a town like Marshall. Does it happen? Of course it does. But I think that's situational.
Yeah. And I have faith. I have faith that at one point in time, people are going to wake up and go, "What I'm doing." Flip phones are becoming more popular, at least where I am. Not like exploding,
Right.
but you see a lot more people going back to them because they realize, you know what, this thing is just eating my life away.
Yeah.
And I've been, because I've been in and out of your shop today a couple of times, and it's lovely. I've been, people having a good natter at the table, and looking at you,
Talking.
recommending the books, and everyone's talking, and you've always had a constant flow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's nice.
I came up here this afternoon to see Jamie. Okay, we get together from time to time and sit around and shoot the pool, and so on and so forth. Okay. And I was somewhat impressed by the number of conversations that both I had, you had, and Jamie had, okay, with the people who came in the door.
Yeah.
Because that is not the norm in a lot of places.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's what the value of these places are.
Yeah.
You go in and it's about human contact, and that's why I love the small shops. And even this, I went to go eat down the street before, and I walked in alone, and because I walked in alone, I'm open to say hi to somebody and have a chat, and people are willing to put down this little badge I have on. It's called Give It a Go, and it's a little project I started to get people talking to each other. And that's, yours is the big Give It a Go badge. Just come on in, let's talk about the old books, because people have a common interest.
Right.
They walk in, they look at the old books, and you have some paraphernalia hanging around, like the I saw some like a whole bunch of Star Wars stuff, and that's the thing, conversation, human contact. Like when you were talking about Mombasa, where was it that you were? That they were laughing at the language?
Yeah,
Mombasa, because the Star Wars language that they were speaking was based on the African language, and I had a similar thing in Tunisia, same a thing with Star Wars, and all of a sudden you hear that and you start talking, and that's what humans, we like that.
Yeah.
I think the screen is limited, man. The screen's going to disappear because humans are going to say, you know what?
They want connectivity again.
We're much more than that, and that's not connectivity, not real connectivity.
Yeah.
It's a false. I got 16 ways I could talk to my family back home. It's like, what is it? It's just like I just want to dial the phone and say, hi, how you doing, every 3 days, every 5 days.
Yeah.
And that's all you need.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because this is the contact. I didn't know you a half hour ago.
No, you didn't.
And I didn't know you 2 hours ago, you
That's
know.
right.
But we just came in, started
That's right.
talking, you know, and that's it. So I'll have to get your email address and get your text number. No.
I'll give you everything on bank account.
Hey, maybe we'll never see each other again, but you know what?
What?
This is the moment.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's all about the present.
It's one I won't forget.
Yeah.
I can tell you that.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that, Bill.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Be in the moment.
Yeah, be in the moment. That's what it's all about. Well, that's a nice place to end it, Jamie,
Okay.
Billy. My friends around the world who are going to watch this are going to have a little taste of life in North Carolina. You rocking on your rocking chair. Perfect. And Billy, you didn't rock enough. Come on, Billy, give us a rock. There you go.
That's much better.
Okay, that's much better, much better. Joe Diomede, TTRP TV, from downtown Marshall in North Carolina, saying thank you. Until next time, be well.